G'day YouTubers, and thank you for tuning in to today's video on YouTube. Today is pretty much a bit of a strangely, absurdly coolish day today. We are going to be experiencing some heat next week, possibly with some thundery interludes if we're lucky or not. And as strange as it sounds, it feels like nothing else is pretty much the same apart from the lettuces and the cabbages looking a lot much more, well, organised and somewhat, let's just say, a bit grown. What I could try and do is, hey, I'll try and water these guys, but I think, hey, I might as well leave it, I suppose, eh? I mean, I've done a lot of watering so far because it has been a very dry than average summer so far, and yes, as we're already stuck into such cooler air now, but not for long until the heat arrives. I tell you what though, guys, hey, look how much I've been spending a lot more time contemplating throughout the rest of this summer. It's been quite insane, hasn't it? But there's been quite a few problems with some of my pumpkins that I've been going through. And I know this because obviously, hey, yeah, I can see a male flower. And I can also see what looks like to be a few female pumpkins. I think these two have not been A-okay, I suppose. So that one there's formulated. But I can also see one pumpkin that has been created, but it has been done by a lot of poor pollinating. So one thing I could have just done was to trim out the vines and stuff. I could have just cut out a few leaves because it would have aided in on growing much larger fruits. And I tell you guys, I think in order to let your pumpkins grow very well, the best thing to do is to actually trim off bits of your, of your plant, the actual same pumpkin plant. And this actually creates a much effective way of letting your pumpkins grow bigger and riper. So I think that's a very good thing to really have. Instead of just having smaller pumpkins. Of course, I can just see on how it's been growing. Although I could probably, this really depends, I suppose, of how much. I think I should probably feed it with some more fertilizer, because quite often when you get a lot more nutrients fed into the pumpkin, this should actually start to provide it some good size, and also, something else, I suppose, which I have totally forgotten about. I might probably talk about that in another video, I think. But anyways, we've got some cabbages and lettuces. A lot of these will be straightforward planted so far. I've got more plants to be straightforward sown in before the advent of autumn arrives. I can tell you though, guys, hey, look how many pumpkin plants have I been straightforward planting out. I tell you what, it's been quite incredible. So many pumpkin seedlings they've actually been doing quite well, apart from those in which they have, well, let's just say, in those in which they have some pumpkin fruit, and those which have been poorly pollinated are the ones in which they'll be going down so badly. Okay, so as I'm traversing along the way, I can see a female pumpkin plant, a female pumpkin flower that has actually been recently pollinated so far. I actually did self-pollinate with two male flowers. I am going to straightforward do another one, I suppose. So I could try and start, basically rubbing out as much as I can. There is another male flower, of course. I can try and grab one out, but I do have to be very careful because quite often with pumpkin flowers, they are straightforward attached to themselves, I think. They do rely on the ground, I think. So I'm, being very gentle and somewhat, I'm trying to be very easy with them because obviously I don't want to tamper the conditions of the flowers. One thing I can do is just basically grab the stamen part of the flower and then just apply it directly to the pumpkin flower itself, and hopefully, mind you, now that will be a fantastic way of getting, a very effective way of getting bigger sized pumpkins and healthier sized looking crops. I think that's a very good way of doing so. There is another pumpkin plant like so, hey, but I'll try and let this one grow because I want to see the effects of it, how it might potentially be like. I could tell though, guys, hey, my pumpkin plants are growing so exponentially large, which is just fantastic to see. We've got a lot of nasturtiums, some tomato plants. They are going to struggle in this type of weather until next week. So hopefully when next week arrives, there'll be a lot of hot weather, of course. I better watch out because, hey, I need to straightforward water these guys a lot. More pumpkin seedlings, of course. Strangely enough, hey, there's a lot of male pumpkin flowers so far. It seems like that, hey, males often tend to outnumber female flowers, if you know what I mean. I think that could also be the same for watermelons, cantaloupes, and also cucumbers, courgettes, zucchinis, and other gourd-related plants, butternut squash and whatnot. I think the sunflowers have been doing alright. Lots and lots of nasturtiums. I'll tell you what, the plants in which have been winning so far the most are the calendulas, the sunflowers, and also the... I'll tell you what, there's actually quite a lot of plants so far. The nasturtiums, yes, the nasturtiums have won. So far, so good. And hey, I tell you what, my backyard garden is actually going bigger and bigger and bigger. We're not yet in towards early autumn yet. But we are getting teasers of what... Yeah, it's sort of funny and how the UK weather seems to be that totally unpredictable at times. There is a nasty and gnarly looking spiky weed I need to try and dig out, which is just growing rampantly, of course. So I'll try and come and think about having to, having to set everything all nicely, of course. This pumpkin plant has been growing so nicely. I'll try and, basically trim these guys out. I'll have to try and pick off some of the pumpkin leaves out, because, I have to be very careful of the rooting section of that plant, because I don't want to damage the entire thing. I'll have to try and use secateurs or scissors to cut vines. Let's just say cut out leaves out, just because, if this plant starts to get a little bit rotten, well then obviously it won't produce a very nice looking, healthy size looking pumpkin. Okay, I'm just going to walk sideways amongst the arrays of cabbage pots and lettuce pots as well. So I've got a lot of tomato seedlings, about 2 of them. There's 2 big ones. Of course, we've got the juvenile robin. Very nice. It's pretty much on the lookout to find food. And we've also got some calendulas and a broad bean, which I don't think it's going to grow very nicely, of course, because of the adverse effects from the heat. There's a couple of male pumpkin flowers, and actually, yes, I can actually grab one from here, which will be fantastic. And there's a crow squawking right here, right? And there you go. I can actually use the stamen. And of course, as I said earlier on before, female pumpkin flowers usually blossom out for a very short period of time. And there's the cat, which apparently is on the ground. Would you like to sniff on this one for me, please? I'm trying to keep this guy here preventing from eating birds, because cats can be an absolute menace when it comes to the birds. You like this pumpkin flower or not? Maybe he doesn't or not, obviously. I can also start to see some cornflowers. I think I need to really water these guys down, because obviously they are starting to droop, and this cat is very much on the lookout for birds. Obviously, you've been straightforward trying to kill out many of the birds in your backyard garden, in my backyard garden, or even the rest of the whole backyard garden. It's not a great look, I suppose, hey? There it is. I can just see the cat basically roaming around. Tell you what, I don't know about you, but this cat seems to be part of my YouTube channel. Maybe I could try and make a YouTube channel dedicated to this black and white puss. Pretty amazing in how he wags his tail. A little bit like a dog, but then, hey, cats often tend to do this a lot when they're exploring. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and straightforward hand pollinate the female pumpkin. Well, I'm going to use the male pumpkin flower. I'm just going to go ahead and straightforward use that. I'm going to straightforward take out the petals. Hopefully this cat isn't going to do anything bad towards me. Hopefully it's not a black one. Well, actually, black cats are nice because they look like black panthers, don't they? Or leopards or jaguars. Anyways, I'm just going to go ahead and start hand pollinating the pumpkin. I'm going to go to the other side because I do not want to crush other pumpkins. I'll tell you what, there's a lot of pumpkins neighbouring around my backyard garden, so I'm just going to rub this one out with a lot of male. I'll tell you what, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. Okay, I can see a hoverfly that's buzzing, probably being very annoyed by the fact that I am straightforward self-pollinating, hand-pollinating this thingy bob, I suppose. So this, what do you call it? This male flower that I'm using here, eh? That's actually the stamen of it. I'm actually pollinating the female part of the flower. I can hear a clock bell ringing because obviously it's gone about 9 o'clock. Yes, there you go. Very strange, I suppose. So I'm just rubbing it quite nicely, I suppose. So I think if I do it many, many times, it might not be a very, very good look. Anyways, I think there is one way I can really speed up this process, and that is to add fertilizer. That could be a very good way of doing so. Anyways, let me try and think of some ways to try and size this plant down. This leaf here can actually be taken out if I want to, of course. Maybe I think the best way to try and do it is to, I don't know, crush it. Let me try and, I don't want to kill and destroy this thing. Ow. I want to try and get rid of some of its leaves that it doesn't really need. Actually, I need to go ahead and grab Mr. Shovel. He might come along and trim that thing out, although I think it's pretty much best dressed, or should I just say bestly done, with a, let's just say, a pair of secateurs or scissors or pliers, which I don't have at the moment. I'm going to go ahead and start, let me just start chopping out the pumpkin leaf that I've just straightforward taken out, because the more pumpkin leaves you will start to take out, you have a lot much more better in control on growing that plant. Okay, I'm just straightforward chopping that guy out. Not sure if you can see it very clearly from my hands. Of course, you can just see how I'm chopping this beast out. There are other leaves growing underneath here, so I'm trying to be very careful. I'm trying to dissect and pull apart the thing. Oh, thank goodness. So yes, I've just straightforward trimmed out the other pumpkin. If I see any more pumpkin leaves, I have to say, this pumpkin patch is also being overtaken by a lot of nasturtiums as well too. It's crazy, isn't it? And guess what? That cat has decided to... You want to have a look inside of that shed? I think there's nothing else in here. Not really a fan of my knockoff toy destructions, if you remember that in the previous video. And yes, I can't find that white car that has Tiger in it written. I still need to find it, but nevertheless, hey, it all looks good. And in the meantime, you know what else I've been doing? I've also been making some fertilizer. So far, so good. It's been sitting there like good. So far, it has been sifting for about... Oh yes, I know it's very, very smelly. But look at the fertilizer that I've been making. So that is how I make organic fertilizer. I'll try and go ahead and serve this by Saturday, because obviously I want the plants to grow very thoroughly, or Sunday. I'm really surprised that, hey, how many crops am I highly looking forward to is always going to be something totally awesome. Hopefully they're going to look, very awesome once the growing season is starting to enhance itself. I'm looking forward to it, very much said. Yeah, I tell you what, my backyard garden is looking oh so good for a variety of plants that I'll be growing outside in the midst of my backyard garden. It's going to look totally and utterly awesome. Anyways, I'm just going to leave this video right here. I'm going to have my breakfast real soon, because obviously I'm starving like hell. So if you really enjoyed this video, please give this video a very good like, subscribe more for live videos in the future. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and bye for now. And just in time for that magpie chattering in the background, why would I even bother? That's pretty much about it. Okay, that's it guys. Bye again. Bye. And the magpie's not chattering. Bye again. Bye guys.